Hello, welcome to Curating Learning with Wakelet. I'm Becky Reniger, and I'm so glad you've decided to join me today for this session. To give you a little bit of information about myself, this is my 18th year in gifted education. I currently coordinate and teach gifted education for a small school district in Ohio, West Milton, Ohio to be specific, at Milton Union Local Schools. So I'm very involved with gifted education, but I'm also very involved with technology. And I love to see how the two fit together and how we can utilize technology in our classrooms and help extend and enhance the experience of our students. So I want to talk a little bit today about Wakelet. Wakelet is a program that you can use in your classrooms for online bookmarking. Now, I know a lot of times teachers will bookmark websites for their students to have easy access to, and I know we use programs like Clever and different apps and programs for students to actually just access the things that we create. However, the cool thing about Wakelet, it allows you to do those things. However, it also allows you to involve your students in the process of curating learning so that they can also share in the process of finding resources, evaluating sources, and being contributors to the group knowledge and understanding. So let's go ahead and get started. I want to show you a little bit around. So the website is wakelet.com. And if you look through, you'll see that it kind of gives you an overview. It's free. It's the easiest way to showcase the content that you love. I love the way that Wakelet arranges information and arranges icons so that it kind of resembles like a Pinterest board. And you have so much control over how things are displayed. It gives you a lot of flexibility. You can put Wakelets inside Wakelets. And it gives you the opportunity to share publicly or privately or just keep it to yourself. So getting started, you'll want to sign up, create a login. I've already got my login, so I'm going to go ahead and log in here. Okay, so I'm all logged in, and this is my home screen, and it kind of gives me a place to see all of my collections and things that I have. And also, I want to show you real quickly at the top of my window here, there's an icon. It's this W. Now, this Wakelet extension for Chrome will allow me to, as I'm working and surfing the internet, I can click on that and it'll bring up a way of bookmarking the sites as I go. So I don't have to go in through Wakelet every time to add more websites. So just to kind of give you an idea, here is one of mine. Wakelets. This one is Mindfulness Instruction for Peace Rooms. So I'm currently working on a project for developing virtual peace rooms in the classroom that students can access. It's kind of like a Google Classroom kind of thing. But they can access different resources to help with mindfulness and help with self-regulation. So I've started collecting websites and resources here, and you can see that I have several different things that I have bookmarked, from YouTube videos to articles, various resources here and websites. So I can display that information in a lot of different ways. When I go into edit, here I'll show you, I can choose the images on the cover and the back side. I can change the way that it's laid out. I can reorder things. So this is kind of like a column right now, but you can also do like a compacted view. So you see that everything's kind of broken down into smaller windows. There's also the availability of a grid view so that you can arrange your links in a grid. Also, there's the mood board. And the mood board kind of gives you this Pinteresty kind of feel where you can see lots of different resources all in one spot. So there's a lot of flexibility in the design of your Wakelet. And you can keep multiple collections. So if you look here at my Wakelet home, you'll see that I have collected lots of different resources in a variety of categories. I do a lot of projects and presentations on technology, so I have different ones for some of my other presentations that I've done. I also have, like, I just completed a article study on executive functioning in the middle school. So the articles and resources from that course, I went ahead and bookmarked in Wakelet so that I would have access to them later, and it was all grouped together and organized. Um, you see, I didn't take the time to go in and make it pretty, but should I want to, it's really easy. You just go in, you add your cover image. You can choose one from your stuff, or you can choose from their library. And with a quick search, you can find something that works for your needs. See, I've got middle schoolers here, so we'll go with these guys. They look kind of middle school-y. Is that a word? I don't know. So you can choose the layout of what you're doing. You can choose to go with a full size. I often like to go with a half cover image. Makes it a little bit smaller, doesn't take up as much room. Now, the reason that I'm showing you this piece is because if you use it in a classroom, it's kind of nice to have visuals for the students. It helps engage their interest, and it helps them think about what kind of images might be related to the topic that you're working with. So you'll see also that I have in this page, this one is marked as private. I've not shared this with others, but what I can do is I can make it unlisted. So where only people that I send a link to can access it. This works out really well, especially if you have an online site that you use for your classroom. I use Teams in my class. So using the bookmark here, you can go with unlisted so that only my students can see it, or I could go with public so that the whole world could see it. You can follow and like different boards within Wakelet. So there are other teachers out there using these. You can look up their information that they've curated, and you can utilize that in your classroom. But you can also invite collaborators. And this is where it comes in handy with your students. So when you set up as a teacher, you set up a board, what you'll want to do is you'll want to invite collaborators, and then you'll get a link or a QR code, or you can copy a code. And this is what your students could use to access this particular board. And you can invite them to add their resources to the board as contributors. You can also manage who has access here. Or you can invite by username or email. So while you could use this with your students, you could also use this with other team members. So if you teach in a team or you work with other teachers on the same discipline, that would be a great way for collaboration and pooling of resources for your students. So let's take a look then at one of the boards that my students have helped me collaborate with. So if I go back here out to my Wakelet, you'll see that if I come down here to thinking puzzles, this is one I used with my third graders and fourth graders and fifth graders. And I gave them access to help bookmark some of their favorite puzzle sites. A little further here. There it is, thinking puzzles. And you see we have 23 items. It's got public visibility. I can, from this 3 little dots, I can move it, share it, invite others. So when I click here on my thinking puzzles, you'll see I've got my background images set. You'll see I've got my head image. And then these are the 23 resources that my students helped contribute to. And when they do, I can set it so that I can approve what goes on and what can be seen immediately and what needs my approval. So that way we don't have students posting things in here that I don't need or want. Another strategy that you can use with students when you're having them kind of contribute to these boards is have them make sure that there's not sharing another resource that's very, very similar to one that someone else has. So at first, they'll hit the first 2 or 3 Google links, but then they have to really be more constructive about how they go about posting information and sharing for others. Now, the great thing is about this, I keep this embedded in my Teams classroom so that when I tell the students, okay, you've got 15 minutes left of some free time, why don't you go on thinking puzzles? You can choose one of your favorites to work on, and then they can go directly to the one that they want. It enables student choice, and it also allows students to have some say in what they have access to. And this is a new feature here where you can add different emojis, which is kind of fun. You can also see analytics on your boards. Nobody's copied this one yet, but that'll let me know if somebody else has copied it. And so it lets me see, my number of views. I can see how often it's been accessed. All right, I'm going to pop back over here. I want to show you how you can embed a Wakelet inside a Wakelet. So one of the things that I've done is for one of my presentations that I've given, actually, this is what I used with my students when we were virtual, Adventures in Learning from Home. So I created different Wakelet boards with different categories. So I have movement, social studies, thinking puzzles, fun learning sites, puzzlements, virtual field trips, STEM, art, animal webcams, performing arts, digital escape rooms. And so these are all high interest things that my students, when they were getting kind of bored with the online school pieces, I wanted to have some other things for them to do. So within these, each one is a separate Wakelet, and then I just added that Wakelet in as a link. And then they can have the sites that they can pull up through there. You'll see that some of my things have been bookmarked. I've got 23 people following me. You'll see that there's lots of interesting information over here to the side to let you know how your collections are being used. This was my virtual piece room that I was talking about before. This is the image that I created using Google Classroom. And then these are all the various resources that I included within that. So you could even do something like that through a Wakelet and curate your links this way as well, rather than doing the interactive piece there. So let's take a look and see how we can search through other teachers' Wakelets. So let's say I would like to do a search for links on American Sign Language. I can do a search and I can see different collections that people have created. So if I'm looking for resources for my students, this is a quick and easy way to look and see what other people have. Or maybe you're doing something on electricity. My physical science class that I'm currently teaching, we're reviewing some pieces on electricity and circuitry. So I can take a look and see. Now, fair warning, this is things that people have put out. They may or may not be educationally appropriate for the group that you're working with. So as always, as a responsible teacher, you'll want to take a look and make sure that what you're sharing with your students is indeed what you want to be sharing with your students. And then if you find different authors or curators that you enjoy, you can always follow them, and then you'll have notification when they create something new that's public. All right, so that's the basics of this. Let me show you a little bit about how I would go about adding links. So let's say I'm wanting to create a new Wakelet board, and I'll just start you out from the beginning here. I can go in and create a new collection. And then that just gives me the basics. It's always the plus sign to add things. Easy peasy. As my son would say, easy peasy lemon squeezy. You can add text boxes in as well as images, bookmark sites. You could upload PDFs to it. And you can also include pieces from different apps, YouTube videos, which will play within the Wakelet window if you choose to. This is Flipgrid videos, Google Drive, OneDrive. So you have a lot of flexibility here. All right, so let's say I want to start a new collection. And I'm going to call this one, I don't know. Let's just do NAGC. All right, so I'm going to go to NAGC's website, and maybe I want to bookmark this. And I'm on the web. I'm starting a new project. I'm going to go ahead and click on my Wakelet Chrome extension. And I can add it to a piece that I've already started, onto a Wakelet that I've already started. Or if I want to start something new, I can create a new collection. So just, again, you hit the plus button and you go from there. There's also group collections, so things that are shared with others. So that's another way of looking at it. So if I go and create a new collection, we're going to call this Gifted Resources. And I might give it a title, Great Websites for Information about Gifted Children. And then I'm going to hit Create. All right, so then I can just save it directly from there. And so as I'm continuing my dig through the internet, I'll find another one that I like. And then I can, again, click on my Chrome extension, save it to my Gifted Resources board, and so on. All right, now what I can do is if I'm back here, I can find my my Gifted Resources, one that I just created. Now, one thing I want to do, keep in mind, is I might need to refresh that. There it is. And there's my board. If I've got something that I'm looking for and I have so many different Wakelets that I've created, I can also utilize the search function, and that is extremely helpful. All right, so I can go in, I can see what I've already posted. And you'll see that, if I click on any of them, it pulls the resource up right away. So again, Wakelet is a fantastic way that you can keep track of your websites. You can organize things visually. You can help your students use this tool as collaborators and curate learning together in the classroom. So please let me know what questions you have, and I will be happy to address them. Thanks.